History happened everywhere. A random country and a random time with a topic pulled from the hat. Then a week for one of us to dive into the internet to find out all that we can. Welcome to History Happened Everywhere.
Welcome to History Happened Everywhere. I'm Peter and this is Ryan.
Hello.
It's Christmas week, so exciting times. How's it been this week, Ryan?
Very festive, which was a bit of a surprise given what we picked last week.
Well, on that note, why don't we dive right back, way back, well, 1 week back,
Yes.
And see what we picked last week.
Sounds good.
I think we should hold the Durs later for the matter of the topic. Simply find a time period and a place and make the topic Christmas. What do you think?
Well, what if it's like 2000 BC?
Then you are in severe trouble.
All right, so we're not doing the topic. The topic is Christmas.
Yes.
But we are going to randomise the country and the time.
Yes. So, Ryan.
Yes, Peter.
I'm going to hit the Durs later. Here we go. And your country is Cameroon.
Cameroon,
famously Christmassy.
famously Christmas. Think of all those Cameroonian Christmas movies.
Okay, your time period is
God.
1500 to 1600
Okay.
in Cameroon.
In Cameroon.
At Christmas.
A Cameroon Christmas.
Yay! I look forward very much to
Oh
finding
my
how you
God.
dig yourself out of this hole.
You know what I'm going to need? I'm going to need a Christmas miracle, mate.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
So Ryan, perhaps more challenging than you were hoping. I thought you probably were shooting for something a bit more modern, but I'm ready, I'm eager, I'm keen to learn all about Christmas in Cameroon.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was really hoping for something more Santa Clausy, wasn't I?
The fabled snows of Africa.
I've taken that challenge on this week with gusto, and I hope that we've got a really exciting episode ahead.
All right, so I believe it's traditional to start with where these places are. I think Africa, but really can't go any further than that, if I'm honest.
Yeah, Cameroon. I'd say look it up as well. I don't know where it is, which is a sign of my ignorance, not a sign of its invisibility on the global map. So where is it? Well, let's start with it's called the Republic of Cameroon.
A republic, good to know.
It sort of straddles between West Africa and Central Africa. It's known as the hinge of Africa for that very reason. It's referred to as Africa in miniature because it's got ocean, it's got deserts up in the north, it's got mountains in sort of the central area, it's got rainforest down in the south, the Congo. So it borders onto that, and it's got savannas as well. It's got a bit of everything. If you want to go to and see Africa, Cameroon's your baby.
Okay, nice.
You can wander around to your heart's content and just walk away going, I think I've seen all there is.
Job done. Africa complete. One handy package.
Exactly. You're probably going to want to know how many Cameroons to a France.
I'm desperate to know how many Cameroons to a France.
1.1 Cameroon.
Oh, that's very France-sized.
Yeah, almost precisely the same size. 475,000 square kilometres, which is 183,000 square miles.
All right, so I'm
miles.
sticking with the 1.1 Francis, but okay.
1.1
For the maths
France
people, I'm
is
sure that was useful.
25 million people today.
That seems quite small.
Right? So there's 12 million people in London, so double that in Cameroon.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
That's knowledge I've got.
You're good.
Yeah. The official languages of Cameroon today are French and English. Any reason why?
I'm going to say colonialism.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They both had a little portion of Cameroon over their years, so there are influences throughout. 70% Christian, 24% Muslim. It raised my expectations of perhaps there being some element of Christmas to Cameroon in 1500 to 1600. Turns out the British turned up a lot later. So,
right, okay, so you've got to stretch this. I'm intrigued to know how you've landed this one.
Yes, I've stretched it. And I'll come to exactly how and why, but I'm just going to, there's a lot to get through in this episode. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do this quite bitty and quite pacey and not to the same level of detail about all the things that we normally do. So I'm just going to race through this. So history of Cameroon.
Lay it on me.
14,000 BC, we start finding some artifacts that date to sort of the Stone Age, suggesting human habitation. That's the first real indication.
If you're starting that early, you better be pacey.
Yeah, no, this is pacey. 15,000 years later.
That was pacey.
So 1000 AD now is the first confirmed settlements. So 472 years later, some European explorers arrive on the land which will become Cameroon. And do you have any idea from which part of Europe those explorers might?
I feel like we're on a roll with the Portuguese, so I'm going to say those guys.
You would be exactly right. It was the Portuguese. They arrived at a little river. They found shrimp in there, specifically the Cameroon ghost shrimp. And they said, this river is a shrimp river. We should call it Shrimp River.
They were running out of ideas at this point, weren't they?
Yeah, they didn't have the most creative people on board at that point. So Shrimp River in Portuguese translate to Rio dos Cameros.
Was it? Would a Portuguese person immediately recognise that?
Yeah, anyway. So it's still called the Cameros. That's where the English sort of took that word and went, well, let's just call it Cameroon. They start to do trade with the coastal people, those that are living right by the sea. But they also start to do a little bit of kidnapping as well.
A little bit of a bit of light kidnapping.
Just a little bit of light kidnapping, taking slaves to Europe and into the New World.
I feel like that's going to catch on.
Yeah, it sure does. This is kind of the starting point of that. So they take some of the inhabitants, take them away, and leave behind a bunch of Christian missionaries. And they start to push inland into Africa to convert all that they come across. Fun times. Okay, the period we're looking at, 1500 to 1600. Okay, so 16th century. This is a period where, in England, King Henry VIII is on the throne. He is excommunicated by the Pope. He executes a few wives. He dies. He's replaced by Queen Mary, who in herself is replaced by Queen Elizabeth I, heralding the Elizabethan age.
Gotcha. Ruffs and big dresses.
Spanish explorer Francisco Pizarro marches from Panama to Peru with just 200 men and massacres 5,000 Incans, forcing the chieftain Atahualpa to convert to Christianity and then murders him.
He converts him, then murders him?
Yeah.
That seems like a rough trade.
Nice guy. The Spanish launch 130 ships as part of a planned invasion of England, and the English outfox them. They're battered by storms, and they return to Spain with more than a third of those ships sunk or damaged.
The legendary Armada.
Yes. And in Russia, Ivan the Terrible. You'll have heard of him, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, it was dreadful.
He's crowned Tsar, and he murders thousands of people. He gets in a rage, and he murders his son, and then kills himself.
Quite a murdery period, then.
Very murdery period. Okay, so fun stuff. Christmas in Cameroon. What is it like today? Like, if you were going to have a Christmas today in Cameroon, what would that be like? Well, you know, it's Christmas. Christmas Day exists. It is a public holiday. It's the dry season. It's also the coffee and peanut harvest season. Yeah, but it's a day off for the general population. Schools, businesses, they're closed. People dress in their best clothes. They go to church, they sing, they visit family, they decorate their homes, they exchange gifts. It's a very Christmassy Christmas in Cameroon.
Those missionaries did their job.
Yes, they did. Children place slippers under a tree for Santa Claus.
Slippers?
Yeah, rather than socks on a fireplace, they place slippers under a tree. And despite the hot weather, bearing in mind, dry season, meaning it's hot, families will opt to share what's called a bûche de Noël. That's my French.
A Christmas bush?
Yeah, kind of. This is a French colonial hangover, this one. It's a sweet sponge miniature Yule log.
Nice, like a Swiss roll.
It looks really good, actually, I'll be honest. I mean, I like a sweet cake, and it looks super sweet. That's Christmas in Cameroon today. So, Pete, this is going to be a bit of an interactive episode, this.
I'm ready to interact.
Are you?
I'm ready.
Okay, I can see it. You've got your Christmas face on. Okay, so there's a bit of a gimmick for this episode. So
I love a gimmick.
It's in this bag here.
Gimmick in a bag.
It's a present. Oh my God. It's not quite a present. It is. Yeah, well, you can describe what's in the bag.
What's in the bag? Right. It looks like Christmas crackers.
It's Christmas crackers.
Christmas crackers.
How many Christmas crackers?
1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12. A dozen. A full dozen.
A full dozen. One for each of the days of Christmas. The 12 days of Christmas, as you will. You might know the 12 days of Christmas from the famous English Christmas carol.
On the first day of Christmas, my true love sent to me a partridge in a pear tree.
Very good, very good. That's exactly right. It's the 12 Days of Christmas, likely French originally in origin. Pretty sure I'm going to assume that most people know the 12 Days of Christmas, but for those that don't, it takes lyrics and then repeats them, gradually accumulating them. So on the first day of Christmas I had this, on the second day I had this, and also on the first day I had
this. What are the two turtle doves?
We will come to that.
Oh, okay.
So the first version that we're going to be using for tonight is the more famous one. Was published in England in 1780, quite a while back, and it's with a 1909 tune. So it was around for over 100 years
before someone made a tune.
Before someone actually put a tune to it, yeah. And that was by the English composer Frederick Austin.
Right.
So, nice one, Frederick. Okay, so let's run through them. On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 12 drummers drumming.
I don't really see the appeal of that gift. That sounds annoying, but okay.
11 pipers piping.
I mean, could be helpful to give you some context to the drums.
Yeah, 10 lords a leaping. 9 ladies dancing.
Well, now you're just having a party.
8 maids a milking.
Not sure what they're up to.
Well, they're milking.
Do they have cows? Presumably they have cows.
I guess you'd think so. 7 swans are swimming.
I've only got a 3-bedroom house, Ryan.
6 geese are laying.
Well, that's useful. We're going to need the eggs for the party.
5
gold rings. Pawn them, pay for the party.
4 calling birds. 3 French hens. 2 turtle doves. And a partridge in a pear tree. That's right. There are other versions of it over the years. In one version, it's not my true love gave to me, it's my mother gave to me. I guess somebody was trying to strip out the element of sexiness to the song.
Is it a sexy song?
Well, it's my lover is giving you gifts. Now it's just your mother is giving you gifts.
Mother gave to now I start to immediately be suspicious of why their mother is giving you all those gifts and what they're trying to either say or make you do.
Well, yes, if your mother is giving you 12 drummers drumming and 6 geese a laying and 8 maids a milking, you might wonder what she's trying to...
I wonder if the maids are milking, at least like you need more milk to build up your bones. That makes sense. That's motherly. Yeah. I'm not sure what the Lords of Leaping are about.
Juniper tree instead of a pear tree. Doesn't quite scan with the lyrics.
No, but gin, so
yeah, very true.
Bad news.
Ships are sailing.
Well, that seems valuable. I like that. The mother's more generous.
Yeah, bulls are roaring, ducks are quacking, badgers baiting, asses racing, men are rowing, ladies spinning, and, my favourite, fiddlers fiddling. Sexy. All right, so this is the plan. You're going to pull a cracker from the bag at random. This is your own days later.
I have a cracker.
Okay, we are going to crack the cracker. Inside the cracker is going to be one of the 12 gifts. There's going to be a joke, and there's going to be a hat. We're going to read the joke. You're going to tell me what the gift is from the song. I will then read you some facts based on that gift on A Christmas Cameroon. And if you win the hat, you get to keep the hat. Person at the end of this episode with the most hats wins a prize.
Excellent. I love it.
Here we go. We are doing our first cracker.
Okay, first cracker.
Right now. No cheating. Like putting your thumb on the thing, right?
Is that
so you got to hold. Yeah, like you got to hold the actual handle. That's why it's a handle on the cracker.
Right.
Okay. Oh, I win. Darn it. All right, you can do it. I win. I win the first one.
What
have you got?
The creature is a partridge in a pear tree.
No way. So we're starting right from the beginning.
Right from the start.
How about? Very good. Okay.
Here's your hat.
Thank you. I'll put that on.
And shall I do the joke and then we do the facts?
Absolutely. So these jokes are from @Cameroon_Jokes, which is a Twitter feed which died in 2018. It's the last one that was posted then. But these are genuine Cameroon jokes from Cameroon.
Okay, let's see if we can get Cameroon to die again.
Cameroon jokes. Cameroon jokes.
Cameroon jokes. In January, I promised I would drop 10k this year. 10 kilograms, that is. It's the end of May. I just have to drop 20 kilograms to meet my target.
Cameroon jokes. Cameroon jokes.
Cameroon joke number 1. A partridge in a pear tree.
Very good. Right. So, pear tree. It's a corruption of the French word perdrix. Perdrix. Which sounds a bit like partridge. Perdrix.
Does it?
In a pear tree. Right. More specifically to Cameroon, there is only one native partridge, which is common to Cameroon. And that partridge is called the stone partridge. It's found near rocks in scrubland. It's really only translated in England or in English as the stone partridge. Everywhere else, if you were to translate it, it would be translated as the rock partridge. So you can call it the rock partridge if you like. I think that sounds more rock.
Rock partridge, that's more sort of world wrestling, isn't it?
It really does, yeah. It's an earthy chocolate brown colour with a sparse, pale, cream grey spotting.
You make him sound delicious.
The eggs are a pale pink which fade to a cream.
Okay, and what kind of wine would you have with one of these?
Well, the wine of Cameroon is palm wine.
So we'll have a nice palm wine and rock partridge, please.
There you go. Later. Okay, so that's the partridge. I told you these are going to be quick. Because we've got 12 of these together.
Okay.
Yeah. Safu, known as the African pear. It's a type of fruit tree which is native to West Africa, but found in Cameroon. It's found in the shady, humid parts of sort of the tropical parts of the jungle. It grows as high as 40 meters.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, not easy to pick fruit from that tree. The bark is pale grey and it is rough. You run your hand over it, it's got droplets of resin on it all over.
Right. Sounds like a challenge to get this fruit.
It is, yeah. The tree flowers at the beginning of the rainy season. They're like a yellow flower, and the fruits emerge from those flowers about 2 to 5 months later. The fruits, they look a bit like a pear. It's ellipsoidal in that pear-like shape. It's between about 4 to 12 centimetres, so about pear shape. 4 centimetres is perhaps a very small, mini pear, but 12 centimetres, probably even that's quite small. It's a dark blue-violet colour, though, the outside of the fruit, but the flesh inside is pale to light green. Looks really delicious, actually. Inside, it's got a single shell with the seed inside, a bit like, think of a peach. You get that big, husky seed. That's not the seed, that's a shell which holds the seed. Same thing for one of these African pears.
Gotcha.
It can be eaten raw. It can be cooked in salt water or it can be roasted. The texture apparently is similar to butter.
Wow. I was thinking something coarser than that. Okay, cool.
It's about 47% oil. So it's pretty oily. Hence,
so
I guess the texture
avocado
to butter.
Now, aren't you?
Yeah, you are. Yeah, very similar. Yeah, when you consider it, that's actually got a seed though, isn't it? But that oil is shown to have antimicrobial and antioxidants in it, which is good for herbal medicine. So the safu tree with the African pears often used to help treat wounds, skin diseases, dysentery, fever, that sort of stuff. And not only that resin we were talking about, where you run your hand over the bark, strip some of that off, set light to it, burn it down for lighting, or you can use it as glue. So warm it up and then glue stuff together.
Sounds like a handy tree.
That is the Cameroonian partridge in a pear tree. All of those things would have been available in 1500 to 1600.
Nice. Super link, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next on. You ready?
Cracker number 2. You might win this one.
I'm going to win this one. Easy.
Okay.
Got strategy.
Cheating.
Pull.
All right.
Yes!
You did win that one.
Victory is mine. I'll take my hat. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And put it on.
I will tell you my Cameroon joke.
Okay.
Cameroon jokes. Cameroon jokes.
Cameroon jokes. Teacher, finish the sentence. Many are called, but... ... Pupil, but few have got credit to call you back.
Cameroon jokes. Because it's
Call you back.
Because it's like a payphone.
Credit. That's a modern
few
joke.
have got the what?
Many are called, but few have the credit to call you back.
Right.
They got no mobile phone credits.
That's good.
That's a modern joke.
Cameroon joke.
That's a modern Christmas cracker joke, but definitely a Christmas cracker joke.
Yeah.
Right, I'm putting my hat on now.
Please put the hat on. It's going to make noise. You look beautiful. You, Kingly.
Okay.
Kingly.
And 8 maids a milking.
Hey, right. Okay, cool. So we're going to shoot straight along a little bit. I've got to find the page. 8 maids a milking. Cattle are native to Cameroon in 1500, but there's one type, and it's called the Savannah Shorthorn.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, it is cool. It's got short horns. You might have guessed that. And it's
found on the savannah by any chance?
Well, yeah. How did you know?
Kind of a natural.
Wait, have you studied this?
I'm kind of a naturalist, mate.
This is amazing. Anyway, it's characterized by its hardiness, so it can survive in really harsh climatic conditions. There are 2 breeds to the Savannah Shorthorn. There is the Bikutsi. The Bikutsi are found in the southwestern mountains, and they're maintained by the Bikutsi ethnic group, one of the groups that lives in the southwestern mountains. They use the Bikutsi cattle for meat, for hides, the leather, and for the payment of bride price and rituals.
All right.
So have a cow, have my daughter. Done.
My daughter will be
Deal.
worth many cows, but I take your point. Are these cows have the kind of like the hump that you sometimes see on African cattle?
These ones have a very small hump. You're right to point out the hump. The hump is a distinguishing feature between the different types of cattle in Africa. This one doesn't really have one. It's
Not much of a hump.
Not much
Small
of a hump.
hump.
Yeah, it's a very small little cow. The Doeo is the other breed. It's found in the foothills of the mountains of North Cameroon. It's maintained by the Doeo people. They're mainly kept for social and religious purposes, though.
So I'm curious as to what social purposes might be.
Well, here's
cow
one for
party.
you. Well, okay, so a lot of it's to do with when people die. And depending on how important you are, so let's say you're quite important, Pete.
Let's just pretend for a
Let's
moment.
just pretend for a second. Just take a moment. Right, so you die. What we would do is we would take several of these cattle. We would slaughter them at the funeral. And then we would use the skins, which we'd rip off, to wrap up your body and bury you in that.
I always want to be buried in a leather outfit, so that works for me.
Yeah, there you go. Nice, freshly carved skin of a cow.
Roast up nicely in the fire, I suspect.
So it's unclear when exactly the cattle first arrived in Cameroon. We know that they likely came through Egypt. It seems that Egypt was the real gateway into Africa from a lot of Asia. But that was around 2500 BC. They made their way across the sub-Saharan line. So right just underneath the Sahara, right across from east to west, where they can be found today.
Do we know if they were brought or did they just kind of roam?
Well, we don't know, but what we know is that there is rock art along that route which has depictions of humans and cows together. Molecular and isotopic analyses of pottery in that area finds chemical evidence of milk fat in the pots. So, lending to the belief that they were milking these cows. It was unlikely that it was used for drinking, though. Even today, many find milk as a disgusting animal secretion and not something that they would want to drink. So it's more likely that it was used to create butter or cheese.
The fermented product of a disgusting animal secretion.
Yes, well, we ignore that part of it.
Well, cheese is lovely, so fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing probably milk goes off quicker in the heat than a cheese or a butter does.
Well, I would imagine
guessing,
so.
yeah.
I'll take your guess and
So
accept it.
that could be a reason why most people were probably drinking gone off or rancid milk. Remember, it's also unpasteurized as well, so it could have been making people feel quite sick drinking this. So it's more likely a reason why they thought it was disgusting rather than just
left out in the
thought of
warm
it.
in a pottery jug. Yeah, I can see the problem.
Yeah, unlikely to be tasty. Females in the villages, they would undertake the milking. So those are our maids.
Maids of milking.
Your maids are milking. They generate about 3 litres on average per cow per day. So 8 maids of milking in Cameroon during the 1500s to 1600s.
Have you done the milking maths?
Would produce about 24 litres.
I'm so impressed. They're both the link
Milk maths.
and the thoroughness of your calculations.
Not only that, that's the same amount of milk that you would use in an average 2-minute shower.
Okay, I'll bear that in mind next time I'm setting myself up for a nice milk shower.
Yeah, have a little shower, set the clock, and think, right, 8 Cameroonian maids would have milked 8 cows in this 2 minutes that I'm about to have a shower. And this is all the milk. Right, last fact on 8 maids of milking. Cows generate milk when in the presence of a calf. Makes sense. But it can take up to 2 years to get a cow pregnant and calved. So to keep milking a cow, which is obviously what you want to do if you keep on having tasty butter and cheese, they blow through the vagina of the cow into the uterus to simulate pregnancy. So blowing up the uterus to make it feel like it's pregnant. Or indeed, there is, in some of these rock art, depictions of them pushing, again, this is arguable, but pushing objects inside the cow that would replicate the feeling of having a calf inside, therefore starting the milk.
We come across these periodically, which is who was the first guy to go, trust me on this one, this isn't what it looks like.
Help me push this sandbag inside a cow.
I think this will work.
John,
bear with me.
John, I'm a bit worried about you, mate. You've been spending a lot of time around these cows.
You leave Bessie out of this. It's just for the good of the tribe.
Are you enjoying that butter? Are you? Well, this is what we have to do. All right, that comes to the end of 8 Maids of Milking. Let's move on rapidly to cracker number 3.
I'm going to win this one for sure.
Well, you best not, because...
I totally won.
And we've done
that one. Today we have... Got my hat.
Oh, yeah.
I'm now
hat number 2.
Thrust into the lead, 2-1. 12 drummers drumming.
12 drummers. We've gone right to the end.
Let me tell you my joke first.
Oh, yes. Cameroon jokes.
Cameroon jokes. Cameroon jokes.
Cameroon jokes. Farts are like children. Everyone is proud of theirs, but disgusted by yours.
Cameroon jokes.
That's pretty good. I like that one.
You like that one? You're going to keep that one?
Yeah, that's a keeper.
Cameroon jokes. Upvote and retweet. Maybe we can get it restarted again. Okay, 12 drummers drumming. Any idea what this might be about?
Drum?
Correct.
I'm going to guess they have plenty of drumming African facts.
Yes, you would be right to think that. So I've narrowed it down to the drums that were more common to those used in Cameroon during 1500 to 1600. So the first is the slit drum. Now, the slit drum is found all over the world, but it is found in Cameroon and was definitely used during 1500 to 1600. It is formed by you take a big log or a tree trunk, you carve a slit, a big slit in the length of it, and you dig down through that slit and hollow out the log. So it's one solid piece of wood. Well, so not solid.
Yeah, a nice sort of echoey boom out of a hollow, like a bass bin.
Like a bass bin, it reverberates and makes that noise. And you can change the pitch and tone depending on the thickness of the slit in the log. So you can carve one side of it, not the other, and you get a different sound than if you carve both the same thickness and so on.
I can feel hipsters taking notes across the land.
They use their feet or they'll use sticks to beat the drum.
Feet, that's interesting.
Yeah, feet as well. Positioned along a river or a valley, it can be heard for huge distances. We're talking 10 plus miles, maybe further.
Communication.
It is indeed communication. The Bamileke drummers in Cameroon's West province are really skilled percussionists at this. And would you like to hear some?
I would. Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah, great. Next one is the talking drums. Talking drums are one of the oldest instruments used in Cameroon by what are called griots. Again, probably mispronouncing that. Griots are singers, storytellers, historians, those that are in the village that you'd go to and be like, what happened with our ancestors? And they'd tell you a story, but they would use the talking drum. The talking drum looks like an hourglass, like an egg timer.
Okay.
So, one of those things with the sand that falls through to tell time. So you picture that sort of conical shape, or that shape, with leather pads over the end like an actual drum. But then it's also connected by tight leather cords. Lots of knots of these little tight leather cords, like shoelaces, really, from one end to the other. And what the drummer does is they puts the drum under their arm, so between their arm and their body, squeezed in. And by squeezing their arm against the drum against their body, it changes the pitch of the drum itself. And it's a really delicate, the amount of squeeze that you apply, a bit like a bagpipe, I guess, maybe. The more you apply it, you can get some super delicate little tones and things out of this, such that a skilled player, a professional, can play essentially whole phrases that sound like talking, that sound like the human voice. More like a human humming. So they use high tones, low tones, pauses, and you hit the drum with like a hooked stick to sort of tap it. So for every short word that is spoken using the drum, an extra phrase is then added to provide clarity. So, for example, Pete, let's say you'd gone on a hunting mission early morning, and I'm like, you know what? I need Pete to come back now because, cows need milking. I would say, come back home. Come back home on the drum.
Mm-hmm.
But then I might add more, and I might say, make your feet come back the way they went. Make your legs come back the way they went. Plant your feet and your legs below in the village which belongs to us. It's a really long, beautiful way of saying, get your ass back here now.
Okay, and I'm there going, oh, it's the wife again.
Yeah.
She's drumming me
again. It's really embarrassing. The guys are here. So it takes, in some cases it can take like 8 times longer to actually say it than you would just say it normally. But it's super effective. Even those detailed messages, that super long way of just saying, come back home, that can be sent between villages at speeds of 100 miles a minute. So faster than a horse, faster than most cars, I would argue, which is another reason why it was banned by the Europeans. Because they couldn't get to a village ahead of time because everybody knew that they were going to turn up.
Coming.
Yeah.
They've blown our cover.
Yeah, not so great. Would you like to hear some talking drums?
Yes, I would.
All right, here's some talking drums for you.
Yeah, I've got to go, Ryan.
You've been called home.
So it was the missus, so I've got to be on my way.
Yeah, fair
I've
enough.
got to take my legs back the way they came.
All right, and finally on drums, water drums. So I didn't include these. I said 2 drums at the beginning, and this is the 3rd drum, but it's not really a drum. These are the water drums that are played by the Baka, which we've talked about, the Baka tribe in southeastern Cameroon, the Congo, the south part of Central African Republics, the Baka tribe, sort of spread around all those areas. But they play the water drums, and the water drums is just essentially slapping the water with their hands. Let me play some of it because I think it's beautiful. There you go. That is the water drums played by the Baka tribe in southeastern Cameroon.
That was cool.
It's really cool. But again, not technically drums, is it?
I don't know, it's drumming.
It's drumming. It is drumming, right? Yeah. Anyway, so there you go. Lastly then, do you want to hear 12 drummers drumming?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, well, good, because I hunted through YouTube and found 12 drummers drumming. I could not believe it. I was so happy to find.
Lay it on me.
This isn't 1500, but it's still 12 drummers drumming in Cameroon.
That is pretty impressive.
There you go, 12 drummers drumming.
That was cracking. That would get your Christmas off to a start, wouldn't
it just? All right, very good. Next cracker.
2-1 to me so far.
Yeah.
God. 3-1. Here we go. Okay, I'll just lay my victory hat on my victory hat pile.
I got off too much of a good start, didn't I?
You did. Right, you ready for a Cameroon joke?
Let's do it.
Cameroon jokes. Cameroon jokes.
Cameroon jokes. Every man needs a clever wife, a sexy wife, a loving wife, and a caring wife.
I know the answer to this one.
You're actually laughing already. I'm going to start again. Every man needs a clever wife, a sexy wife, a loving wife, and a caring wife. It's sad the law only allows one wife. Cameroon jokes. Wah, wah, wah.
Cameroon jokes.
Cameroon jokes. Retweet. And this is a dead website, you say?
It is a dead website, yeah. I'm so disappointed.
Oh dear. And the time period? No.
What?
It's 3 French hens.
Oh, right. 3 French hens.
3 French hens. Hen me, baby.
This randomizing is working well. Do you like what I did there? It's a bit like the Dursley.
It was. It's like a crackle-eater.
Crackle-eater.
Crackle-lacking fun.
Okay, 3 French... No, how's it go?
3 French hens.
Yeah, that's the one. 3 French hens... ... All right, today, how many chickens do you think there are in Cameroon?
Oh, it's going to be more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7.
You can't count
15,
all of them.
16,
We don't have
2
time.
million.
Oh, close. 2 billion chickens.
2 billion?
2
That's not
billion.
close at all. That's hugely different.
It's one letter off. They're going to be...
I suppose, yes. Alphabetically close.
Alphabetically close. So there are 2 billion chickens
Wow.
in Cameroon. That's astonishing, isn't it? It's the most abundant livestock species in Africa.
Everyone's got a chicken. Right?
Everyone's got a chicken. Well, everyone's got several chicken, if that's the case. Only 25 million of them. Free range. They are scavenging chickens, are found in villages in basically all over the country, in all zones, no matter where you are. Rainforest, mountains, desert. There are these little scratchy chickens.
Everywhere. I've got sort of visions of a country knee-deep in chicken.
That's exactly right. They are easy to farm, as you might imagine. They offer an easily sacrificial animal, easy to catch, easy to kill. You can trade them, economic transactions. So I want to buy something, I'll trade you a couple of chickens for it. And it's a source of valuable protein. You're going to eat it. Eat the chicken. Meat is usually fish, though, in Cameroon. It doesn't tend to be meat. So it's sort of fish or beef. But goat and chicken are eaten. And also bush meat. So you might find some people and some of these different territories eating insects, porcupine, giant rat, and even pangolin. The mighty pangolin.
The mighty pangolin. The mighty pangolin is the best.
I mean, what have you got against porcupines and giant rats?
Giant rats, I think it's fairly evident. Porcupines, in fairness, I like a porcupine.
Yeah. So a lot of protein comes from ground nuts. You know what a ground nut is?
It's a peanut.
It's peanuts, exactly right. Like what we would call a classic bar peanut. Chickens introduced from Asia via Egypt again.
Probably came on the back of those cows.
The back of the cow, yeah. And it's thought that they came not as a food source, but as just a curiosity. The Egyptians found them fascinating, these little chickens running around. So they were kept for that for quite a long time. In fact, the earliest evidence of domestic chickens, so being kept to eat and farmed, is around 500 AD. So that's a long old time.
For a long time, people were just going, have you seen this?
Yeah, like a hamster
chicken.
in a cage or whatever. Yeah, look at this chicken.
What does it do? Well, nothing much.
It clucks a bit.
I don't know, is it tasty? I don't know, I never thought to eat it.
Oh, you're gross. Yeah, so the Portuguese, when they arrive, so 1472, they bring with them new breeds of chicken and also methods of farming. And so it starts to introduce that domestication further into Cameroon.
So now I've got a vision of the Portuguese sort of bringing the chicken and the Cameroonians going, oh, it's chickens.
Yeah.
And then the Portuguese then kill and eat the chicken and like, hold on, this is a game changer.
Well, not just that. The Portuguese also brought with them foods from the New World. So they introduced maize, hot peppers, and tomatoes, none of which had existed in Cameroon up until the 1500s.
Oh, they must have been grateful for the hot peppers.
But they sure were, and the tomatoes as well.
Suddenly, chili chicken's a thing.
Well, funny you should mention that. Kati Kati becomes the thing. Kati Kati is one of the most ancient and distinctive dishes of Cameroon. Basically, you get a chicken, you butcher it, you roast it with the feathers on, you season it, and then you simmer it in palm oil with a kind of chicken broth. All right. There is a modern version of that, which I have made for you today.
No way!
I made you some Kati Kati. Yeah. Onion powder, garlic powder, white pepper, cayenne pepper.
Oh, this sounds amazing.
Maggi cubes. Yeah, it's served with what's called fufu, which you can get most of Africa and I think even beyond that. It's sort of plantain flour with water added, and it creates like this starchy stuff. So let me get you
Fetch me a fresh steaming bowl of
I don't know about if it's steaming because it's been sitting there all day.
Claggy, not so steaming bowl of Kati Kati.
Kati Kati with fufu coming right up.
I'm excited. All right, incoming Kati Kati and a bit of fufu. Fufu's kind of looks just like a dough almost.
Yeah, it's very doughy.
It's quite sticky.
Yeah, it is very sticky and quite lumpy. I didn't quite manage the smoothness, even though I followed the lady's instruction on the internet quite closely.
All right, Kati Kati, here we go.
Yeah. So as you'll see, it's a very rich sauce, tomato-based sauce. And what you'd use your fingers to rip off a chunk of the fufu and dip it in the sauce, grab a bit of chicken.
That's really good.
That's it.
I just had a bit of the sauce and that was, it's like spicy, but not too spicy. It's like a curry, I guess.
Yeah. So
it's good.
So this has got palm oil, which on most occasions I would be reluctant to use, mainly because palm oil famously is connected with, you were just shoving that in your mouth, with deforestation in many places and the extinction of a number of animals, or at least the threatening of extinctions of animals such as the orangutans. So I was reluctant to use it, but it is a core component of Kati Kati. You can use vegetable oil, but palm oil seems to be the way forward.
For educational purposes, one palm oil is probably okay.
Yeah, that's how I
Oh my gosh, that's really good.
Really?
I have to say. Credit to the chef, credit to the ingredients. But I
came up
really
with it myself.
tasty.
So
that is, I'm always a bit nervous when, when we do these things. I'm not loving the fufu, but the Kati Kati is.
But try a bit of
fantastic.
fufu with it, because you've only tried the fufu on its own.
Okay.
There you go. Double that stuff up, because I think it's a bit like a dumpling and stew.
Yeah, I'm a consistency man. That's not my consistency. But.
We're going to get a lot of complaints about the fact you're using a spoon rather than your fingers. It is traditional to use your fingers and not an instrument. But we have very expensive technical equipment around here, which I'd rather you not get palm oil on.
That is genuinely really good.
Great.
I'd be delighted for you to. I'm not big on the fufu.
Oh, really? Even with the sauce?
Even with the texture, it's a bit semolina-ish for me.
Okay.
I don't like rice pudding or those kinds of things either.
Right. Also, I may not have done it very well.
Well, maybe. But your Kati Kati, absolutely first class. That was delicious.
Great.
I will leave the rest of that later.
Yeah, we've got lots of it.
Or we could have a long and painful 15-minute segment while I eat dinner.
And that, Peter, is our French hens. I couldn't find three French hens, so I went with the 3 chicken breasts instead in the Kati Kati, which you're not supposed to use, by the way. You're supposed to use like a hard chicken. It's called hard chicken, which is usually chicken. Yeah, I had to look that up. It's a hen that's stopped laying eggs, and the meat is a lot harder. And you boil the chicken to soften it up.
And I can imagine you went to the butchers and go, what do you have in the way of hard chicken? And they said, what?
Yeah, pretty much. Also, I wanted you to eat it, and a lot of it's very bony. Yes! I think you are cheating.
I'm just told, look at that grip. That is a perfectly legitimate
4-1 is
competitive cracker grip.
No one ever played crackers with Pete. He's a cheat.
Just a very talented cracker player. Like it's a game. In the international cracker circuit, our real name.
You are the winner.
Right, I shall lay my crown onto my victory sheets. Okay, Cameroon joke. Are you ready?
Cameroon jokes. Cameroon jokes.
Cameroon jokes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to read it out. I'm just going to read it out. I'm hoping that you can bring some context to this. What every sports player should say after winning. First of all, I would like to thank Grand Kumbar for not competing. Cameroon jokes. Hey, Grand Kumbar. Yeah, Grand Kumbar.
If you go on the Cameroon jokes page, there is a lot of jokes that end with Grand Kumbar.
Who is Grand Kumbar?
Yeah, do you know what? I could have looked it up, but I chose not to because I found it funnier. I found the joke, literally, the joke is funnier not knowing who Grand Kumbar is.
All right, Grand Kumbar, if you're listening, do write in and tell us why you're so good at sport.
I mean, I'm guessing it's a religious figure. You know, it's like if God's on your team, you're always going to win.
Maybe, let's leave it as a mystery.
But it's a mystery.
Anyone who's willing to Google that for us, you can participate.
Grand Kumbar.
All right, send us in to hhepodcast@gmail.com. And the topic is, so indoctrinated into doing this, the topic is 4 calling birds.
4 calling birds. This is another interactive game, Pete.
I'm ready to interact.
Get your game face on. So, whether it's a semantic change or a mondegreen. Do you know what a mondegreen is?
I don't know what a mondegreen is.
Right, so a semantic change is like where a change in word happens, it just evolves, right? So over many years, the word changes slightly. A mondegreen is a mishearing. So you might think you've heard something, and then you go, I know. You know, you're listening to a song, perhaps, and you then find yourself singing the song, and somebody goes,
Beelzebub has a devil for a sideboard.
That's a really good example of a mondegreen. So whether or not that's the case, calling birds were originally collie birds.
And what's a collie bird?
A collie bird is means like black, like coal, like a collier.
Okay.
Like a mining. So 4 collie birds would be 4 blackbirds.
Ah.
So that's what we're talking about. Some say that calling birds might refer to canaries, so like a songbird. But for the sake of this one, I'm going down the blackbird route.
Stick with it. Stick with the guns.
Exactly. Now, the problem is there are 5 entirely black birds. There are a lot more black birds in Cameroon, but I had to go through every one and look to see whether any had any like colour at all on them, and voted them out. So they're all gone, right? What we're left with is 5 that are entirely black. Your job is to listen to the facts about each of them.
Yep.
Give me a score.
Okay.
And we're going to vote one of these birds out so that we can only gift 4 calling birds.
Okay, I'm ready to find the worst
for your
black
lover.
Bird.
Very good. Right, first off, we have the black heron.
Oh, I like heron.
Okay, it's medium-sized bird. So you've got to think about this in terms of bird you're going to give to your lover. Right?
Understood, yeah.
It's a medium-sized bird. It's black all over, but it does have yellow feet. Now, I told you that I wasn't including birds that had any other colour other than black, but because it's a heron...
It's a wading bird.
Its feet are hidden most of the time.
That's fair.
All right? And it's just its feet, not its legs. Its legs are still black. It prefers shallow water, so it lives near rivers, lakes, that sort of thing, as you would expect, and therefore it eats small fish, aquatic insects, crustaceans, even amphibians, little froggies. It nests over the water, and it has 2 to 4 dark blue eggs. It's quite hardcore, isn't it?
Yeah, I like it.
Dark blue eggs. A lot of eggs tend to be white or cream.
I'm holding...
Okay, fun fact for you. This is the bit that you might like. It hunts using a canopy feeding technique, which you might have seen on sort of nature programs and stuff. Basically, it uses its wings like an umbrella. So it pulls its wings around itself, like it's being all super mysterious, and it creates shade that attracts the fish. So the fish are attracted to the shade, they hang in there, and then it bangs its head down, nabs 1 or 2.
I like a bird with a strategy. That's a big plus for me.
So sometimes it hangs out in groups of up to 200. So you can have 200 of these things, little umbrellas right across a river. And it feeds by day, but prefers just before sunset. I guess that's when the fish are most likely looking for a bit of shade. So, black heron, score out of 5.
Oh, this is difficult because I haven't heard the others, but I'm going to give him a 4.
Yeah.
For the sneaky. I like sneakiness.
Even though it's got yellow feet. I mean, we can readjust
I'm
these,
soft
but
on
an
the feet.
initial
I'm soft on the feet.
feeling. Okay, I'm just going to mark that up as a 4. There we go. Okay, the next one, black sawwing. It's the smallest bird that we're going to have out of our 5. It's in the swallow family, so it has a forked tail.
Is it a European swallow or an African swallow?
An African swallow, because it's in Africa. It is black, entirely black. No yellow feet, no nothing. It is black. But it does have a blue gloss, like a kind of a sheen over
like
it.
a
So
sheen.
if you look at it in a sort of light, it goes a bit blue. Now, does that count as black? Well, I'll leave that with you to judge. It breeds in open wooded areas, and it has a preference for wetter wooded areas. It's usually seen in pairs or in small groups, and it eats flying insects, which is always a fun bit.
Does that
Don't eat
include
mozzies.
mosquitoes?
It does indeed.
Oh, that's a big plus.
Big plus. Fun fact, it builds their nest in a long burrow within a sand or clay bank. So digs into the riverbank.
No, it's
Makes its
nothing
nest in
compared
there.
to the shadow hunting.
And it's a quiet species, only giving a soft chirp as an alarm. Not like, wake up in the morning.
And why were you late? You've been using that swallow for an alarm again. Yeah. So.
There's a fire over there. Chirp. Chirp. People are dying.
Yeah, that guard swallow you had was useless.
Chirp. All right, what score?
I'm going to take it down to a 2.
Wait, what? For what reason?
It's in a burrow. It's in a clay burrow. I mean, the mosquitoes was good, but there's nothing as dramatic and exciting as the heron.
Wow. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next one.
There's room below a 2, so if
There
something
is, for sure.
really poor comes along, then
Okay, but it's on its way out at the moment. The northern black flycatcher. It's a small bird as well, slightly larger than the black sawwing. It is black 100%. It is the only one of the 5 which is entirely black. It has a long, square-ended tail. It's found in moist, wooded areas. It nests in a hole or reuses the nest of another species. It only eats insects, mainly flies, so possibly mosquitoes, not sure, just flies in general. And the fun fact, the only fun fact I could find about it, is that a Victorian taxidermy diorama, so, like one of those little scenes that are made to look as though it's flying.
Love those.
Showcasing the northern black flycatcher, sold for £420, that's $565 in 2018. So somebody gave it as a gift.
I like that it's all black and it's sort of hit the criteria. So,
Sure did.
But there's no excitement to that. I'm going to raise
dull,
the
isn't
swallow up to a 3 and put that in as a 2, just to
Wow,
give
okay.
some space.
All right, so I've got to correct my scores. So 3 for the black sawwing, 2 for the northern black flycatcher. Okay, that leads us to number 4, the black cuckoo, medium-sized. It's black. Again, it has a green gloss on the feathers, and it looks black. You look at it, you think that's black, but actually on closer inspection, it's a kind of greyish black wing.
This is kind of like white paint, isn't it? No white paint, it's just white. It's always
Just white.
eggshell white or pearl white.
There's always a little bit, just a little bit something. It is a greyish black, but I mean, I really hesitated on including it, only because like when I did see it, it is grey, but it is black grey. It's not like white grey. Anyway, it prefers woodland, thickets, and trees around villages. It likes villages. Its main food source is hairy caterpillars, specifically hairy ones, apparently. But it also eats termites, ants, beetles, grasshoppers, and other birds' eggs.
Oh, that's mean.
Yeah, right? Naughty cuckoo. And talking of naughty cuckoo, its fun fact is that it's a brood parasite, as well you'll know about cuckoos.
Yes.
So its hosts are usually the bush shrikes, and what it'll do is it'll lay its eggs in the bush shrike nest. The eggs hatch after 14 days, which is 3 days before the host's eggs open. So the cuckoo chick, which is hatched early, kicks out the other eggs or any other nestlings which have arrived early, and that's usually within 30 hours of it hatching. and then it leaves the nest after 17 days. But the host parents continue to feed it for up to 3 weeks after that.
Okay, so I started out, it was looking low for a minute there, but what did I say earlier? I love a sneaky bird, and that is about as sneaky as it comes.
Bird that you're going to get.
That's a 4. That's a 4 for pure sneakiness.
Greyish black wings, though.
It's all right. It's sneaky. Sneaky birds win.
Green gloss. It's not entirely.
Green gloss is exciting. I think that's an
black,
enhancement of
You're
black.
looking for blackbird.
That's enhanced black.
All right. You got to feed it hairy caterpillars.
It doesn't mind. I don't. It's find a shrike to do it.
Right, so that's a 4.
That's a 4.
All right.
I love a sneaky
this is
bird.
strong for the cuckoo. I was surprised by that one. I thought that was going to be lower. Okay, and then finally, number 5, the black scimitar bill.
Ooh, I'm already a strong open with a scimitar bill.
Scimitar bill. It's a small bird. It is black, but it does have metallic gloss. Now, depending on which one you get, you might get a blue one, a green one, or a purple one.
Collect all 3.
Or you could collect all 3. It has, as you might guess by its name, a long, slim, curved bill. Very thin. It does look like a rapier sword. Nice. It's curved like a scimitar. It's found in open woodland, or in the savannah, or in a thorn bush, or in a thorn brush. Apparently those are different. It nests in the hollows of trees, which they climb in the manner of a woodpecker. So sort of hang on with their feet and then hop up it. And the fun fact is that German fossils have shown that it was at one point migratory. So it used to fly between Africa and Germany at least. But it doesn't do that anymore. And so for some reason, unknown, it has stopped being a migratory bird.
That's another classic. There was a first one that went, I'm going to go back to Germany, and his mate's like,
do you know what's really far
here, I think. Got my thorn brush. I mean, it's not that different weather, is it? I'm going to stick it out. You can let me know how it's...
You go for it.
Okay.
So, there we go. What score are you going to give the black scimitar bill?
So the black scimitar, insufficiently sneaky, clearly. But scimitars, I have a very fondness for swords and all things sort of piratical and exciting.
Yep.
So I'm going to give him a 3.
3 out of 5. Okay, so that evicts the northern black flycatcher.
Get out of here, flycatcher. You're not welcome.
You're not welcome in Cameroon no longer. I'm surprised by that. I'm surprised those ones that, especially the heron, which you just completely accepted the fact that the yellow feet were allowed.
Can't see them. They're under the water.
I deliberately tried to pick those points that were going to keep you.
No, I know my mind.
Changing your
I
mind.
like a sneaky
sure
bird.
do.
I like a bird that's tricky, uses trickery to his advantage.
Do you know what I want right now? A Cameroon joke.
Oh,
It's cracker time.
I'm ready to go.
Here we go. I'm going to win this one for sure.
You made
Seriously?
these. You made
I
these.
did make these, yeah.
You shouldn't have put that this way up on them. Right, Cameroon joke.
Cameroon jokes. Cameroon jokes.
Cameroon jokes. A wife, leaving her husband, yells, "I hope you die a long, slow, painful death." The husband says, "So you want to stay with me?" Cameroon jokes.
Because he would have a horrible death
men are
if she
miserable
lived
with
with
women.
him.
Women are terrible.
A lot of the Cameroon jokes did tend to be a bit sexist, I'll be honest. Or they tended to focus a lot on the Grand Kumbar or on women being just dreadful, horrible people.
Oh, well, I quite like women, so
Well, Cameroon jokes.
Cameroon jokes. Keep them coming. I fear that's going to happen. Okay, 11 pipers piping.
11 pipers piping.
11 pipers piping.
Any guesses what this might be about?
I'm going to say some sort of flute.
Well, very interesting. You're wrong. So,
Smoking.
yes, that's exactly right. So, sailors from Portugal, they arrived, they flew, they sailed.
No wonder they go everywhere first.
So they sailed in from the New World and gave out a whole bunch of chickens and some maize and some hot peppers and made some yummy Kati Kati. What else did they give?
Tobacco.
Tobacco. That's exactly right. And they didn't just give it just for the sake of it. They asked them to start cultivating it as well. So Cameroonians started to cultivate tobacco. It was used, and we're talking 1500s here, used recreationally, but also incorporated into religious and royal ceremonies. So it was seen as being quite the thing, quite spiritual. Also for politics too, where the kings of the different kingdoms would gather to talk to each other and try and work stuff out. Lots of territories happening in that point, and still today actually, where their way of talking it through, sit around, essentially have a peace pipe. So pipes would also accompany workers out into the fields. So if they're working and doing agriculture and farming and such, they'd bring their own little small mini pipe, have a little smoke. And they then go from those small pipes right up to massive, celebrated, ornamental pipes that kings would smoke, and you wouldn't be allowed to touch. The only person to be allowed to touch it is the king. So yeah, they vary widely in size and decoration as well. The king's ones obviously ornately designed and would reflect your social status.
So a big industry of pimp my pipe.
Pimp my pipe, that's right. And so the smallest that you might get is made of wood, joined together with beeswax, which sounds like you'd have a terrible time as you're smoking that. But that's what they were doing. So beeswax and wood pipes, the largest, most elaborate pipes, decorated with royal figures on the kingly ones, elephants, crocodiles, leopards, animals that were exclusive to the king. No one else could have those animals, just the king. There were other animals, though, like spiders, which meant wisdom, divination, frogs, which meant prosperity. So you got a pipe on that. Let's have a smoke to prosperity. Bats and lizards were sometimes carved onto the stem of the pipe, and we don't really know what that means, it seems. Possibly fertility or long life is the guess for bats and lizards.
Just a better grip.
Or just a better grip, yeah, you're not going to slip out your hand. So there are three elements to a pipe. So you've got the bowl, which is where the tobacco is packed in and burnt. It's made from clay, terracotta, or metal. Use iron or brass.
Metal?
Yes.
That surprises me.
Why so?
Because you kind of hold that bit when you're smoking and it seems like it would get hot.
Oh, I see. I guess you'd probably hold the stem or somewhere else around it, but yeah. But you're right. Yeah, it would get hot. A long stem is the second piece, and that's where the smoke gathers and cools. So you want it to be long so that it's nice and cool when you breathe it in. It's usually carved from wood, or again, in those kingly pipes, brass or ivory, sometimes carved from that, decorated with copper, brass and tin. So quite beautiful little objects, these things. The mouthpiece itself, that's usually metal, and it's inserted into the stem, and often ends with like this double-headed snake that I guess you breathe into. I don't know why, but double-headed serpent or an elephant head is the bit that you actually suck from.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's when the bubbles come out. Everyone else smoking, and there's me with a bubble pipe. Check this social status. So the most prized pipes of all are entirely made of brass or iron. So there's no wood on it, and nothing. It's just entirely so, and it's that additional skill that was required to cast them in those metals to be able to do that. That was really highly sought after. So there you go. That is your 11 pipers piping. Those 11 pipers being having a little peace pipe.
That's cool. I like that. That was really interesting.
Thank you very much.
All right. You're gonna win this next one. I'm worried about you now.
How many have you got left?
I don't know.
God damn it! Son of a... I've got one of these. How many have you won? This was supposed to be much more of a competition.
1, 2, 3, 4. I'm up to 5 now. So you
5-1.
only have to win all of the rest, and you've
It could happen. You've won 5 in a row.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's no way you're not cheating if you're winning 5
How
in
do
a
you
row.
cheat? You can't cheat at crackers.
Totally can. It's all thumb placement and all sorts.
Thumb placement. The rules of international cracker say.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just pop that there on my almost certainly winning pile. Right, Cameroon joke.
Cameroon joke.
Cameroon joke.
Cameroon jokes. Cameroon jokes.
Cameroon jokes. My girlfriend has left me because I'm too insecure. Wait, never mind. She's back. She went to buy bread.
Cameroon jokes.
Actually, quite
That's quite a good one, right?
That's good. That's
Good,
solid.
right?
I like
'Cause
that.
he's insecure.
That's a good joke. I like that.
All right. Cameroon joke. Retweet.
Retweet. I was going to say retweet in Twitter. Cameroon, and it's at Cameroon joke, is it?
At Cameroon jokes.
Wow. 2 turtle doves, sir.
All right. Okay. 2 turtle doves.
I think it's 2 turtle doves. Sorry.
No, not in the last one. Not in the last verse. 2 turtle doves.
And, yeah, okay. I'll allow it.
Thanks, Pete. Okay, turtle dove. From the Latin, streptopelia tutur.
Say that again.
Streptopelia tutur.
Tutur. Okay.
It's onomatopoeia, isn't it? The tutur. It's from the bird's soft call. Turtle doves go tutur, 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 tutur.
Ryan.
What?
There's a bird in the room.
Where? No, it's me, mate.
You're incredible.
Right. It's often represented in literature and imagery as a symbol of innocence, purity, and enduring love. Beautiful bird. It is a pretty looking bird. It is still a pigeon, essentially. But it is...
Of all the pigeons, it's the most romantic.
2 turtle doves is likely a reference to the New Testament, where they are offered during the presentation of Jesus at the temple. So the turtle doves were offered.
I like the idea of the presentation of Jesus at the temple being
Here he is.
PowerPoint based. And if you look at slide 3, meek shall inherit the earth.
Can you all see at the back?
Or in 2020, you're on mute.
Of 350 species in the dove and pigeon family, 6 are turtle dove. So very few. And 2 of those 6 are found in Cameroon.
Nice.
So we're going to talk about those 2 turtle doves.
Oh, I bet you were delighted when you found that out.
So much of this just fell in my lap and I couldn't believe it. Anyway, so number 1 is the European turtle dove. You'll be familiar with this one because they are here in the UK an awful lot of the time. They are a small pigeon, orangey brown, with a blue-grey head and a pink chest, with black and white stripes on the side of their neck. They feed on cereal and wildflower seeds, and they breed in the UK and North Europe between April and September. Turtle doves feed their young pigeon milk. They don't steal it from a pigeon. They regurgitate...
Go to the shops like in the rest of us. 2 pints of pigeon milk, please, love.
Semi-skim. It's a regurgitated milky substance from their crop, which is the bit in their neck where they store all the food. So they create a milky substance in there, and that's what they feed to their little babies.
Sounds disgusting.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you haven't tried it, so...
Please tell me you haven't got
Just
happened to have brought you this glass of pigeon milk.
I'm going to feed it to you from my mouth. For the true turtle dove experience. Right, they migrate. They migrate during the winter, so between September and April. They head off and they fly from the UK to West Africa. That's about 5,000 kilometres, 3,100 miles.
That's a solid journey.
It's a long fly. Yeah.
Just with hand luggage, nothing more.
Yeah, exactly that. They often get shot, though, as they fly through France, Spain, and Morocco. So, bad France, bad Spain, bad Morocco. Just let them fly through. It's the UK's fastest declining bird species.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
With 3 countries gunning for you.
93% have been lost.
No way.
Since 1994. So it is near extinction.
How much tutu are we missing out?
A lot. Yeah. Sad note, that one.
It
but
is.
It's, just stop killing the turtle doves and give them some love. Leave out some food. Second one. This one is native to Cameroon. It is non-migratory. It is the Adamawa turtle dove, also known as the pink-bellied turtle dove, which is a bit confusing because the European one has a pink belly too. But let's ignore that.
I imagine the guy the first naturalist found that one. He's like, I'll call this one the pink-bellied. And then he found the other one. He's like,
lighter pink. So native Cameroon. Very little research has been done on this bird. So if you're looking for a way in to the
big ornithology.
Yeah, if you're looking for a way into big ornithology, the Adamawa turtle dove needs some research doing on it.
Crying out for it.
Feel free. Yeah, it's slightly larger than its European cousin. It's about 12 inches long, and it has a silver-grey face, a pink breast with a brown body. It lives in wooded areas and farmland, eating gravel and sand occasionally to aid in its digestion.
Yeah, I like a bit of gravel every now and then.
Yeah, that helps. They mate for several breeding seasons and they build a flimsy nest and have 2 white eggs. Fun fact. If a predator finds their nest, one of the parents will act as a decoy for the predator, like a snake or whatever, by pretending that its wing is broken.
Oh, man.
So it's all like, oh no, I'm really injured.
Sneaky bird.
Best eat me.
Sneaky bird. You know that's a plus.
Famously, you love a sneaky bird. Yeah, it's like, oh no, I'm in danger. Somebody could eat me.
I like that.
And so the predator goes for that, and then they're like, no,
Psych.
it's like, I'm out of here, jerk. At which point, I guess the predator just goes, oh, I guess I go home now without food and not just go back to the nest. But I don't know. That's its ploy, and it works. If added cumulatively, by the end of the song, how many turtle doves? This is a little quick quiz.
Oh, what if with every round of the song
Every
we do
round of the
2
song.
turtle doves? So 2 is the 11th thing in it. So 11 times 11, 121.
That's 22 turtle doves.
Which is 11 times 2. That's because my maths was terrible.
Yeah, you did say it. 11
I did,
times
yeah.
two.
I got it. I just did 11 times 11 for some reason.
Oh, well.
I got confused.
Oh, well. Well done.
22.
There you go. Very good.
No problem.
Well
I'm
done. Your maths is
smart.
great.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Do you know what I want right now?
Another cracker?
I want a Cameroon
Here we go.
joke.
The Cameroon joke. We're down to... Oh, we've got 5 left. You've got to win all these, Ryan. 5 left.
Okay, here we go.
Son of a bitch! I'm not doing anything, I swear to God. It's now looking fishy for me, mate. I'm wondering, what am I doing here?
I'm so weak. I can't pull a cracker.
Cameroon joke.
Cameroon jokes. Cameroon jokes.
Cameroon jokes. Twitter tells you who to follow. Not to be pedantic, but English teachers in University of Bouya agree it's whom to follow.
Cameroon jokes.
Cameroon joke.
Cameroon joke.
That's
Retweet.
That's one of their jokes.
And is it Bouya?
Yeah, I guess.
Bouya?
Yeah. It's their university, yeah.
Well, the English teachers in University of Bouya agree it's whom to follow.
Dursley, I like that one.
He will.
You'll love that joke.
I'm not sure he'll see that it's a joke. Well, of course. The classic line, 5 gold rings.
All right. I've been waiting for this one. Everyone loves the 5 gold rings bit, don't they?
It's a nice little break.
Everyone gets so excited with the 5 gold rings bit. It snows in Cameroon.
No way.
For sure,
Well,
it
that's because
does.
there's all of Africa in there, I suppose.
Africa in miniature. It snows there. Annual snow is in late October, and it can produce up to 3 inches of snow on the ground. So not a tremendous amount.
Late October, though. That's
Late
early.
October, yeah. So you want to go. Apparently the 22nd of October is the best day if you want to ski in
I would argue
Cameroon.
if it's snow you're after, whilst it's possible, one might suspect that Cameroon should not be your number one destination.
That's right. So you might ask me, well, what's snow, Ryan, you idiot? What's snow got to do with 5 gold rings?
Well, no, hang on. If I can ask a different question.
Go on.
Ryan, you
Yeah.
idiot.
Yeah.
What's snow got to do with 5 gold rings?
That's a really good question. Well, let me tell you. Tiny little amounts of silver and copper added to gold, and you get different coloured gold. You can have yellow gold, you'll have heard of, that's its natural colour, blue gold, black gold, red gold, green gold, white gold, grey gold, pink, and purple. Lots of different
Purple
colours.
gold. I want purple gold.
Purple gold, yeah. Sounds like a song, doesn't it? In the 80s. Another set of 5 gold rings that have those colours, yellow, blue, black, red, green, and white, is the
Olympics.
rings. So the Olympic rings, 5 gold rings, just different colours of gold.
There are several steps to reach this link on there.
Be quiet. I've done well so far. Let
Done
me have
really
this
well.
one.
This is good.
Let me have this
I
one.
fully accept it.
Because of the snow. So it's the Olympic symbol. The Olympics also has a Winter Olympics, which is where the snow comes in. And Cameroonian Isaac Magnoli represented Cameroon at the 2002 Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City, in the United States.
Awesome.
He did. He took part in the cross country, in the 2 by 10 kilometre pursuit, and the 1.5 kilometre sprint. He finished 65th out of 72 for the cross country, 80th out of 85 for the 2 times 10 kilometre pursuit, and 67th out of 71 for the 1.5 kilometre sprint. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation reported that he had been voted the day's best Olympian, in much the same vein as Eric the Eel or Eddie the Eagle Edwards. Seen as a bit of a joke.
These are cross-country skiing or...
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Cross-country skiing.
That means there were at least 4 people who came in after the Cameroonian.
Yeah.
Who had to go back to Canada or Norway or something.
Well, I did look those up, and yeah, they like got injured or they fell. So in theory, or just didn't finish. Yeah, but he says he doesn't care. He was reported as saying that his objective wasn't to win a medal. He didn't go there to win a medal. He went to attract media attention about the prevalence of AIDS in his country, specifically in his hometown of Bouer, the university we just mentioned. He said, "I want to ski for a reason. I want to tell people that they really have to watch out, that AIDS is serious." And I felt that, you know what? It's Christmas. We should spread that message. Even though it was back in 2002, his message is still going out there.
Oh, for sure. That's great. I mean, the guy was an Olympian at the end of the day. Someone always comes last, but not everyone gets to go to the Olympics.
Very true. You wouldn't think a West African at the the Winter Olympic Games, but there you are. Isaac Menyoli, we salute you.
Indeed.
Cracker time!
Cracker time! Now you have to win all of these and another one. So no pressure. I'm going to change sides, see if that makes a difference.
The 13th day of Christmas. Wait, okay. I don't know why that one's crushed now. Son of a gun! This is impossible.
Statistically,
like, genuinely, I don't get it.
Okay, are you ready?
Everything right.
For your everything right. Your technique is perfect, Ryan. Okay, are you ready for...
I mean, I'm genuinely getting annoyed now. Like, before I was like, well, whatever, it's just Christmas thing, but...
Right, Cameroon joke.
Cameroon joke.
Cameroon jokes. Cameroon jokes.
Cameroon jokes. In an ideal world, the president of Cameroon and the worst human being alive would be 2 different people. Oh my God, that's bleak.
Cameroon jokes.
Hashtag Cameroon jokes.
Retweeted.
I think they're great.
That was a terrific one. I like that one. And now we are doing 10 Lords a Leaping.
10 Lords a Leaping. The Bamileke Kingdom. We mentioned them briefly earlier. But it refers to an area in the western province of Cameroon. So that's to the left.
Yeah, that was what I was just doing. Thank you.
I can see your eyes. And within that area, it's ruled by about approximately 100 kingdoms. So all got their own king.
Okay.
All within this one area.
Bamileke, that really trips off the tongue as well.
It's a beautiful name, isn't it? Bamileke. 40% of the population, even today, is made up of Bamileke in Cameroon. Each kingdom is ruled by a lord, you might say.
You might, and I'll allow it.
Thank you. Known as the Fon. F-O-N.
So close to being the Fonz.
Really close, yeah. So the Fon runs the Fondom, like a kingdom. The Fon is considered divine. He owns the land. He oversees the life and death of his subjects. The Fons are male. They inherit the throne from their father. Royal rituals, which involve transforming the new king from a mortal to the divine. This is what they do. They capture the new king, which implies that he's trying to get away, which maybe is possible, but they capture the new king. They enclose him and 2 of his queens in a special temporary structure called a laquam. Lock them all together, those 3. They feed them with medicines, and they teach them their new duties, and 9 weeks later, they emerge.
So some kind of camp, indoctrination camp.
It's one way of putting it. Yeah, but even then, he still only fully becomes the Fon after he has sired at least 1 son and 1 daughter.
Oh, right. Nice balance.
Yeah.
Nice for daughters to get and look in for once.
Yeah, it's probably the only looking in they're getting at that point, because everything focuses then around the male.
Yeah, they're not going to be the fawn, are they?
They are not going to be the fawn. Bamileke royal compounds, so where they live, sort of the palace basically, they're built on slopes and they're surrounded by a fence or like a hedge. This is in 1500 now. I'm guessing that's probably just not the case. The Fawn's Palace has, it really sounds like the Fawn's
Palace.
from Happy Days. Yeah.
The jukebox that really sets it off. You know you're in a Fawn's Palace
What it's got.
when it's got a big jukebox.
Al's Diner. So the Fawn's Palace has many rooms and includes a water source just for the fawn. No one else can drink from the water source. There is an entry gate which leads via a wide path, the wives' quarters. They're divided up. Each quarter is ruled by the own queen. And the queen, obviously their wife, lives in a square raffia bamboo hut, kitchen house type thing with all the children. Meanwhile, the fawn gets the rest of the palace and all the rooms to himself. On death, the fawn is buried. The skull is exhumed and cared for a little while later. I guess once all the stuff has
Bits have
gone.
come off, yeah.
The skulls are really important. All the ancestral spirits are embodied in the skull themselves, so that's where they take them out and look after them. Approximately 1 year after death, there is a huge, really super expensive celebration, and that's held. And after that, the widows of the fawn can now resume having sex. So no sex for a year.
The big celebration, presumably.
I guess so, yeah. So that's sort of the fawns. Do you want to know 10 leaping fawns?
Give me 10 leaping fawns, please.
Okay, so the fawn of Mendankwi, fawn of Batabo, the fawn of Ashong, the fawn of Kung, the fawn of Baligansin, the fawn of Guzang, the fawn of Bangwa, the fawn of Awing, or Awing, fawn of Awing, the fawn of Bessie, and my favourite, the fawn of Bum. Beautiful.
I've nothing to add to it.
And there you go. That is 10 lords
Lord's
a
leapt.
leaping.
I like it.
10 fawns a leaping. Cracker time.
In a Cameroon joke.
Cameroon. I would love a Cameroon joke. I'd love to also win
I'd like
a cracker at
you
some
take
point.
it and you decide which
I'm
side
gonna
you
decide
want.
which side.
Maybe
We should have
me.
done this earlier.
We should have done. I feel responsible.
All right, I'm going to take the bigger side because I don't think I've done the head side. All right.
Okay.
All right, how are you holding it?
Just going by the edge, right?
I mean, this is just ridiculous.
Oh, mate, I don't know what's happening.
I'm genuinely upset. Like I don't know if you can hear this in my voice, but I'm actually quite annoyed.
I'm worried that you're going to...
This was supposed to be a competition.
Yeah, there's no competition, mate.
I've got one hat.
You're like a Cameroonian cross-country skier right now.
I'm not in it for the medals. I'm not in it for the hats.
You're here for the information and knowledge, sharing of knowledge, like our man. Right.
Okay.
Cameroon joke?
Cameroon joke.
Cameroon jokes. Cameroon jokes.
Cameroon jokes. I used to be good at math until X got involved. Story of my life. X's ruin everything. X like a multiplication. Sort of a written down joke, this one, isn't it?
It is, yeah. X is in like mathematical X.
I used to be good at math until X, not unlike the multiplication symbol.
Yeah.
Got it? It doesn't work, does it?
I mean,
I used to be good.
keep saying it. Maybe it'll be funny.
Maybe if I keep going. Until X got involved. Story of my life. X's ruin everything.
They sure do.
They also mark the spot.
Cameroon jokes.
Can we have
We can.
a gift? Christmas
You,
gift.
sir, have 6 geese a-laying.
All right. This one is about geese.
Well, that was a revelation.
Specifically their breeding habits.
Okay.
Yeah. There are 3 types of geese. All right, not 6, unfortunately. I was disappointed in that. Native to Cameroon. But they mate for life.
In
So,
pairs.
6.
Nice.
6 geese. And I figured, well, 6 geese, they're laying, right?
They're
It's
going to
3.
need each other to lay.
So these are the breeding habits of the 3 geese. Starting with the smallest. The smallest is the African pygmy goose, which I think is probably the cutest of the geese I've seen. It is, the smallest of Africa's wildfowl. It's teeny. One of the smallest in the world. It's only 30 centimetres long. It's about a ruler.
That's a cute goose.
It's a cute
Less
goose.
scary than angry geese.
Yeah, and it really looks like a duck. It just looks like a mallard, but it's got a goose beak. It's got a white face, metallic green patches on the head and back. It's got golden brown feathers on the side and a yellow beak. It really does look like a mallard. It feeds on the seeds of water lilies. I mean, how cute is this thing? The seeds of a water lily. Oh, bless. Yeah, it lives up to 15 years. They nest in tree cavities, but occasionally in termite mounds. Which sounds very uncomfortable, I would imagine.
With like empty ones or with termites in them?
I'm guessing with termites in them.
All right.
Yeah, but also in thatched roofs as well. So you might come home and find yourself with a goose in the ceiling.
Little goose. There's
Yeah.
we've got geese again.
Geese in the ceiling. Yeah, but these are cute ones. It's
I
fine.
wouldn't mind ceiling geese.
Ceiling geese. Males do the nest site selection, so they go hunting around looking for a nest, and then they get the female to come and have a look at it and say whether it's good enough.
I like that.
These are
Found
the
us a
best.
place.
Yeah. No, I don't like it.
Oh, fine.
You didn't like the last 12. Why do I have to be with you forever?
Oh, this is going on Cameroon jokes.
They lay 6 to 12 creamy white eggs, and they incubate for 3 weeks.
Oh, baby pygmy goose. That's
Within
it's
3
like
weeks.
Cute squared.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Right, next one. Egyptian goose. It's a medium-sized goose, and these are probably the more famous goose. You'll have seen a picture of this one. It's pale brown, it's dark orange, it's got white feathers with a pink and black beak. It is adept at swimming, but generally doesn't go in water. It sort of stays on land, which is a bit odd. It attracts its mate, this is the male, with an elaborate, noisy courtship display. Honking and neck stretching and feather displays and making a right old palaver. The female mostly builds nests in holes, and they are super territorial. These are the angry geese that we're all absolutely terrified of. They will pursue intruders into the air, and they will attack them in dogfights.
Wow.
Yeah. 5 to 12 eggs, creamy white in colour. Both parents take turns sitting on the nest, incubating the eggs, and they will kill each other's offspring to ensure their own kids' survival.
Brutal.
They are a brutal species, the Egyptian goose.
See, people do cockfighting, but I would actually rather see dog fighting geese than chickens fighting each other.
You'd rather watch a dog fight a goose?
No, geese dog fighting each other in the air. Like,
Oh, I
just
see.
take it to the air and
Right.
Battle of Britain, but with geese.
Yeah,
That'd be amazing.
it would be amazing. Okay, spur-winged goose. It's the world's largest goose in Cameroon.
So they've got the smallest and the largest geese.
It's exactly
oh,
right.
wow, what a gamut of geese we're having here.
It's the largest waterfowl in Africa. 45 inches long. That's 115 centimetres. Over a metre.
I'm scared already.
It's a big goose, yeah. And they've got a spur on their wing.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, it's a fighty. Another fighty one.
Basically a warrior goose.
It is, yeah. Mainly black goose with a white face and a large white wing patch. That's why it didn't get included in the collie birds. It's quiet though. It only makes a soft bubbling chewit, chewit, chewit when
Ninja
taking
goose.
wing.
Ninja goose.
Ninja goose, yeah, when taking wing, when it's alarmed or when it's breeding. So it makes that little noise when it's chew it,
Like-
chew it, chew it,
Come on, love, put some passion into it.
chew it, chew it, chew it. All right, you wouldn't want to eat a spur-winged goose. Tell me why.
Too spurry, spurs everywhere.
No, it's because they eat blister beetles. So they're poisonous. Their meat is poisonous. The poison, cantharidin, is held within the tissue even when cooked.
Oh,
Yeah. 10 milligrams of cantharidin can kill a human dead on the spot. I don't know if that's true. I made that last bit up. You might die slowly. No idea.
big goose for the table. Everyone's died.
Spur-wing goose for your Christmas meal. Send it back. Yeah. Watch out for the blister beetles. It's highly aggressive and it uses the spur on its wings in conflict. It has a huge nest. And usually you'll find it in an aardvark burrow. So you'll find an aardvark burrow and make its nest in there. 6 to 14 eggs that one makes. And those are our 6 geese a laying.
Well played, sir.
Thank you very much.
Can I interest you, sir, in a Cameroon joke?
Why, Peter, I would absolutely love a Cameroon joke.
Right, I'm handing you the cracker this time.
All right.
I don't want you to think there's any foul play.
No, that's clever because we've talked about birds quite a bit.
Segway.
There is a lot of birds in the 12 Days Christmas.
Yeah,
I only realised about halfway through and was like, oh no, this is going to be very bird heavy. Son of a... I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Something's not right here.
is-
I'm worried about your technique now. I think it might be personal. I'll just
Whatever.
pop that with my hat stack.
Whatever.
Cameroon joke?
This was supposed to be a much more competitive game.
Well, I should have warned you. I was an Olympian. Cracker Olympian, 1987.
All right.
Cameroon jokes. Cameroon jokes.
Cameroon jokes. Teacher, how many feet are there in a yard? Pupil, it depends. If there are 3 people, then we have 6 feet.
Cameroon jokes.
That's quite good, actually, Anna.
Wah, wah. That's pretty good, actually. That was all right. Not great, but all right.
Yeah.
Okay. 7 swans are swimming.
This is the one that I had the most trouble with. And that's mainly because there are no swans in Cameroon. Not in 1500s, not today. So I did everything I could to try and do this. And I racked my brains trying to think about how... this was the only one where I'm like, come on, there's got to be something swan-related. Turns out, I think I may have found something. So we'll see. We'll see whether or not you accept it. So 7 swans are swimming. So the Portuguese, right, we're back to them. And as we mentioned, they started to kidnap people and take them from west coast of Africa into Europe. By the early 1500s, 10% of Lisbon's population was of African descent. 10%.
Wow, that's pretty...
Huge amount of people. Yeah. Slaves, but yes, 10% of the population. And London started to be populated with a number of black people as well. And so Londoners, being the kind, welcome-hearted people that they are, threw open their arms and said, come on in, the more of you, the better. They didn't do that. They did the opposite.
I was waiting for the other shoe to drop there.
It's such that Queen Elizabeth I, she quoted a threat to economic stability with the influx of people arriving in London.
Well, where have we heard that before?
She issued deportation acts in 1596 and 1599. Didn't really work. Anyway, so yeah, there was a lot of talk about this in politics at the time. And there was a young man who was sitting there taking note of that and trying to relay this to the common people. And that man's name was William Shakespeare.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, and so he was reacting to what he was seeing and what he was hearing, and so he wrote it into his plays. Specifically, 1592, Titus Andronicus. It was performed by the Lord Chamberlain's Men, which was his theatre troupe, his company, and it features a character called Aaron the Moor. Now, Aaron the Moor is a black man. He is the main antagonist of the play, which means the villain. And as villains go, he is perhaps the evilest of Shakespeare's villains, but don't let that fool you. He's sadistic, he's treacherous, he's a murderer. But some argue that, because a lot of this is interpretation, right? Some argue that the villainy is due to the racism that he's been subject to. There's a nurse that he kills during the play because she called him a racist name. And he says, "Zounds, ye whore, is black so base a hue?"
Yeah, it's unlike Shakespeare, isn't it, to have an entirely awful villain who's just villainous for his own sake, right?
Indeed. Yeah, rounded characters. Aaron the Moor is literate. He has a restrained sexuality, which was a stereotype that black people at the time didn't have. They were seen as being uneducated and sexually ravenous. So really playing with the stereotype that most of the audience would have had about black people at the time. So it's no doubt he is a complex character, which altered the perception of Africans as being inferior beings. Indeed, Shakespeare then goes on to debate issues of cross-cultural marriage and misuse of slaves in his other plays. You've got in 1595, Merchant of Venice. You've got 1600s, so the first few years of the 1600s, you've got Othello, Antony and Cleopatra, and The Tempest. All plays which deal with some of these contemporary issues. Now, as I said, there are no swans native to Cameroon, and you might be wondering how I get the swan involved in that. Well, in 1500s London, there was a very famous swan, and that swan was the amphitheatre in London called the Swan Theatre, like the Rose or like the Globe. Now, scholars disagree as to whether or not Shakespeare and the Chamberlain's Men actually performed at the Swan, but some argue that the troupe definitely did play there from time to time, particularly when they were looking for a new theatre venue to be built. So I'm going to assume that they were, and that Cameroon and West Africa was discussed on the public stage in front of the people in a more positive way than we would have expected.
I entirely accept your assumption, sir. I think that was a tremendous way to link something that was clearly very challenging.
It was a very challenging one. Fun fact about this one that I found. On the 6th of November, 1602, so just slightly over the period we're looking at, there was a young man called Richard Venner. And he was going to put on a play called England's Joy. And so everybody turned up, they paid their money, and he just disappeared. He took the takings and he disappeared. There were never any actors. He apparently never intended to put on a play. It was just a scam just to get everybody's money. So everyone went home and went, oh, England's Joy.
Whereas if he just taped a banana to the stage, art.
Yeah, Turner Prize. Cracker.
Okay, this is it. This is the last cracker run, I have to warn you.
All right.
So this is also your last chance to win.
Well, I mean, that means I'm going to win the cracker, doesn't it?
I'm confident.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
So, I wish you a Merry Christmas, Pete, and a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, sir.
Here we go. Oh, you absolute son of a... Well, I mean, really.
What have you done to these? You must have rigged these.
No, you just got to...
I'm telling you, man, I'm an international cracker champion.
Cameroon jokes.
Oh, it's written super tiny, so here we go.
Yeah, it's quite a long one.
Cameroon jokes. Cameroon jokes.
Cameroon jokes. At one woman's funeral, the pallbearers hit a wall with her casket. They hear a moan inside. The wife is alive and lives 5 more years. At her second funeral, the husband screams at the pallbearers, "Want to look out for that wall?"
Do you get it?
Yeah, I get it. I was slightly concerned that it actually is written in a sort of patois.
You've anglicised it.
I've anglicised it because I did not want to do the rather dubious voice. Look out for the wall, chaps, says the...
And why does he say that?
He says that because she might still be alive and he wants to get her interred.
Right.
Cameroon jokes.
That's actually not a bad joke.
It's actually a good joke.
I just not...
You ruined by not doing the accent.
I'm happy with that because that's the bit that will get cut, put into a trailer somewhere and get me Twitter destroyed.
Go viral. Okay. Come on then. I think I know what it is, but tell me anyway.
Last but absolutely not least, 9, in fact, possibly the very opposite of the very least, 9 ladies dancing.
Lovely. 9 ladies dancing.
9 ladies dancing.
Oh, where'd that come from? That's beautiful.
I like ladies.
Christmas spirit suddenly kicked in. Okay. Dance in Cameroon during the 1500s. It's an integral part of tradition, religion, socializing. So everyone's at it. Everyone's having a dance.
Everyone loves the dance.
Everyone's really good at the dance as well. There are more than 200 traditional dances going on at that time. It's a lot of dances, each associated with a different event or a situation. So a funeral, for example, birth, christening, wedding, crack open the wedding dance, crack open the funeral dance or whatever.
That must make it easier because otherwise you've got 200 dances and you're sidling across the dance floor going, "Do you want to dance?" Like, "Yeah, do you know the funky
Which
chicken?"
one?
No, I don't know that one. Well, I don't know. Have you got the cha-cha-cha? No, that's not me.
That's very true. Many of these dances obviously have been lost due to colonial authorities coming in saying, "No, we don't like that one. That's far too sexual.
They
Behave
don't like
yourself."
the saucy dancing, do they?
The
And
Christian
they didn't like drumming, so dancing has got no chance.
dancing really didn't have much chance. Christian minister. What have I got a problem with saying
You
that?
hate the Christians.
Christian missionaries also banned native dancers as well. They said, "No, this is no good. This is anti-God. Stop dancing. Stop having fun.
God hates fun.
Stop having fun. Who do you think you are?" So it shifted to a more modern day again, where dance is lost its relevance to sort of daily life. It's just entertainment now, really. And it is. There are big nights where you can go and watch the same traditional dances being danced, but in a more modern way. So let's talk about the traditional dances, 1500s, often with very strict choreography. Doesn't necessarily look like it, but the same dance would be the same time and time again. They might have costumes, they might have props, so wearing masks or carrying fans. Whilst everybody's dancing, they're often segregated. So you'll have a male dance, you'll have a female dance. Sometimes you'll get some where everybody's together, but it's also segregated not just on sex, but on age, occupation, social status as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's lots of different dances. Everybody's sort of doing different dances based on who they are and where they fit in the whole system. So, dances performed only by women in 1500. That was my theory, because I'm looking for
9 ladies dancing.
9 ladies dancing, exactly. So, 2 of those that I found. Jamassa is one, performed at enthronement ceremonies or during princely weddings. So these are those queens we were talking about, and only the queens would perform them at the royal court.
Wow, that's a very specific dance.
It is. It's a very specific dance. So that's the Jamissa. The Bikutsi. The Bikutsi means "let's beat the earth," which is a great expression.
I like that. Yeah, that sounds like that you can imagine someone go, that's like a phrase for let's party, right? Let's beat the earth.
Let's beat the earth.
That's great.
Yeah, it means stomping the ground with their feet. So it arose in communities where women were forbidden to raise their voices in public. So these were the more male-dominated societies. So Bikutsi sees women gather after work without the men, and they sing and dance of their joys, sorrows, and frustrations. So, for example, they might sing about and dance about the pain of living with a violent husband, or the erotic joy of a successful marriage with a younger man.
Ooh.
But yes, quite intense, quite erotic, lots of bottom wiggling and thrusting and other sexual such.
You sound like a man who's spent a long time on YouTube.
I may have done. I've gone blind. Yeah, there you go. Intense dancing, lots of screaming. It's characteristic. And there you go. 9 ladies dancing all together. And that, young man, brings us to the end of our Christmas special of History Happened Everywhere.
Well, I've got to say, Ryan, that was a tour de force. You took what was extremely challenging on the face of it and turned it into not only an interactive competition, which I absolutely trounced you at, but also a selection of very interesting nuggets of information. All, I have to say, bar one probably, very neatly tied into the themes. So I have to say that is an A++ from me.
Ah, thanks, buddy.
That was really good. I really enjoyed that, mate. Merry Christmas.
This was a fun one. And I just want to extend my Merry Cameroonian Christmas to all of our listeners out there too.
Yes, I hope everyone else enjoyed it even half as much as I did. You would have had a good time. If you did, let us know. If we got something wrong, let us know. Give us a line on hhepodcast@gmail.com. Or you can get us on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. It's HHE Podcast in all of those events. So do talk to us. We are very friendly and we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, we do love getting your feedback. Thank you everyone that's given us such kind ratings and reviews so far. Really appreciate it.
So thanks for listening. If you want to have an entirely unrelated look at a book that Ryan and I wrote, we did a book called Reindeer Tales. It's available on Amazon. It's a fictional set of short stories based on the premise of what if Santa's reindeer were all once people.
We'll pop a link into the description of this episode alongside a number of links to YouTube videos and everything else that's been on there.
So, of course, we have our review episode, our judgment,
The Verdict,
by Mr. Dursley. I thought this was A++, but you never know with him. He's a very harsh taskmaster. That will be available on
Saturday.
On Saturday.
Yeah, we tend to release them on a Saturday, so you'll find them appear in if you subscribe, you'll find them appear into your podcast player on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, so subscribe to any podcast player and you should find us. History Happened Everywhere. Thank you very much. And now the eternal question of what are we going to do next week?
Yeah, okay. So it's your turn this time, Peter.
It is.
So you got a bit of researching to do this week.
I've got a lot to live up to too. So
well, it's not a Christmas special though, is it?
That's true. New Year's special. Boxing Day special. Okay,
so should we get the Durslater going?
Get the Durslater going.
All right. Okay, so here we go. And your country is Austria.
Austria. Oh, that's good. I've heard of Austria. I even know where it is. So I'm off to a flying start.
This is a flying start, Austria. Okay, Durslater, here we go for your time period. And the time period is 1400 to 1500.
Oh, I think that feels pretty doable.
The century before the Cameroon, this week's podcast. Okay, and the final piece of the puzzle for your research is the topic. And the topic is art and culture.
Oh, that's good. I feel this will be easy. I've been wrong before, but this feels like quite achievable.
It's
Vienna, culture, Austria.
Right? It's
Yeah.
not. It's not a Pacific island in the middle of nowhere. At a time when no one was living.
years ago. Uninhabited rock number 4.
We shouldn't complain about that because history happened everywhere.
Everywhere.
So, yeah. So there we go. Art and culture in Austria from 1400 to 1500 AD. Peter, I wish you all the best, and I cannot wait to hear what you bring back.
I'm looking forward to it.
Let's speak to you then on History Happened Everywhere. Thanks for listening to History Happened Everywhere. I'm Ryan and he's Pete. And if you want to get in touch with either of us, you can do that through hhepodcast@gmail.com.
Or you can use HHE podcast in any of the usual social media.
That's right. And, if you did enjoy the show and you enjoy it, let's help spread the word, get more people coming, and you can do that by rating and reviewing at your podcast provider.
We'd love to hear what you think, as long as it's nice.
Yeah, please be nice.
Be nice.
We're very sensitive.
Ebenezer Goddard. Ebenezer Goddard. Ebenezer Goddard, wake up!
Oh my God, who are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Oh, are you?
Yes, I am. And I am here to reclaim your soul.
What? Why me, though?
You are a miser, Ebenezer Goddard.
Well, that's just not true. Just the other day, I put something in the charity part of work.
A button.
People need buttons.
What about your podcast editor? You don't pay him.
I gave him a lovely Christmas goose.
It was an African pygmy goose, the smallest of all the geese.
Still a goose.
Enough of all this. Heed me, for I am here to save your soul.
Ah, fine. Okay, then. How does this work? Is it magic or something?
In a way, yes. First, we must travel back through time to a random country.
Really?
Yes, with a topic pulled from the hat.
What?
Just go with it. First, your time. It is 1000 BC.
Oh.
And your country is Zaire. You haven't been to Zaire?
No, mate. Sorry, I'm not. Don't even know where it is.
Okay, well, and your topic is sport. You do sport?
Never really played. I don't.
Watched it?
Not bothered, to be honest.
Right. Okay. Well, look. How about you just promise to be a better person, Ebenezer Goddard, or else I'll be back next year.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Sounds reasonable. I can promise that. Yeah, no problem. I'll get better, mate, for sure.
Okay. Good. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
So.
all right.
So.
I guess that's it then.
I mean, yeah. I guess. Thanks for dropping by. I guess.
Oh, okay. Night then.
Yeah. I mean, have a safe trip home.
Yeah. Good Christmas. Merry
Yeah.
Christmas
Yeah.
to you.
All right. Take care of yourself,
Okay,
mate.
bye then.
Okay. All right. Bye then. Nice guy.